Good evening, everyone. It's Christine Richardson from Natural Healing. Tonight, I'm going to give you some tips on how to cram more veg into your daily meals. I've been asked this by mums over and over again, and I've put together my top tips for you guys to try out straight away. So without further ado, straight away, I'd like to tell you about breakfast. So how can you pack veg into your breakfast? The number one tip I would say is smoothies. Hi Heather, nice to see you here. So smoothies are a fantastic way to get lots and lots of hydration into your body. Your body's mainly made up of water, so that is what we need to replenish. And coupled with vegetables, you couldn't have a better way of starting your day. Obviously, as per last week, always think of some proteins as well. But, spinach is a fantastic way to put veg into a smoothie. So you could keep it sweet. So start with bananas and some nut milk and spinach. It'll turn it beautifully green and it will still be sweet and no one can taste the spinach. So having it raw as well means you are actually getting the maximum amount of nutrients from that spinach and obviously all other ingredients because you are not processing it via the heat and therefore losing a slight amount of minerals and vitamins. So that's my number one top tip is for breakfast is smoothie. Hi Mark Richardson, I think you're sitting next door watching. Okay, so for breakfast, the other family favorite that we have and where we love to add lots of vegetables in is an omelette. Not every one of you will be eating eggs, so for all the vegans amongst you, just skip this one and stick with a smoothie or something else. But an omelette is an amazing way to hide the vegetables. Obviously, if you have kids, and I am mainly teaching mums, then we all have kids and it's always a bit of a battle to get all those vegetables in. So the smaller you chop things up, the better. So start your omelette with some finely sliced onion and you fry that up in some coconut oil. You're adding some really nice spices, say a bit of garlic, a bit of ginger, whatever you like. Not too much because you don't want to overpower your egg. And then whatever you've got in, is it leeks finely shredded? Or is it peppers finely shredded? Or is it, cucumber even, tomato, whatever you've got in, lettuce, kale, finely shred that, just lightly fry it. Don't use stuff that needs lots and lots of cooking because obviously right now you don't want to spend a lot of time and you're just going to put the eggs on top and then just let it simmer. Put your lid on. So we've got the top two tips for breakfast here to get more veg into your meals. For everyone who's just joining now, hi Vivian, hi Hannah, hi Heath. Lovely to have you here. So my top two tips for breakfast to get more veg in is smoothies. I said try it number one with spinach. Raw spinach is amazing for your system and add bananas to it and some nut milk. Then whiz that up. You can't even taste the spinach. Everyone will love that. Next time add pineapple to it. And then get more inventive and add cucumbers to it. Again, you can't taste them very much. If you want it much creamier, add avocado to it as well. Just try it. The number two tip is omelette with very finely shredded veg in it. So you start frying the veg first, add your eggs, make it into an omelette. Fantastic breakfast. Okay, so then we're moving on to lunch. You can obviously use a smoothie for lunch. I would definitely add proteins into it. So you want to have some nuts or seeds in there to give you that satiation feeling that you need to carry you over to the next meal and obviously stop you from feeling snacky at night because you haven't eaten enough proteins during the day. So a smoothie with lots of veg is a really good lunch idea as well. It's really good on the go, but at the moment we're not very much on the go. So, this is just to keep in mind for future. So then I had written down as a little memento here is soups. So this is a fantastic way of getting in your veg, especially in winter where we all want something warming and just nourishing. And the wonderful thing about soups is you can make them in bulk. You freeze them. I've actually bought a massive standalone freezer for the garage just for that reason, because I wanted to be able to freeze more kind of batched cooked meals and then not have to cook on days when I don't have as much time or where I just don't want to be cooking because I don't feel like it, or I just rather cuddle down with the kids and watch a family movie with them than make a massive meal. And soups are a wonderful way of getting more veg in. So again, you start off frying some onions, garlic, ginger, add all sorts of things at that point, and then add your veg and add your stock, simmer it all up. Again, think protein. What kind of protein could you add to this now to make you feel more satiated? Obviously, you don't need protein in every soup, but if you want to make it a full meal that is filling, if you're doing a lot of hard work or you're doing a lot of exercise, you're working outdoors a lot, and your body at the moment in this cold burns a lot of energy and requires a lot of energy. When you are, for your husbands, or, you want to give them something more filling because you know that they need more. But we all need lots of protein. Like I eat 3 square meals and I eat loads every day. But that's it. But every meal is filled with protein and vegetables. So you need to add the protein. So where does that come from? If you didn't listen to my protein Facebook Live last week, you might want to go back and listen to that one, because I mentioned loads of vegetarian and vegan, obviously, protein sources. But just a little recap here. Lentils are amazing. Chickpeas are amazing. Beans are amazing. And they are amazing to add to soups. So that's a wonderful way to get more veg in. The other little trick I wanted to mention at this point, which goes for lunch as well as dinners, is if we think about the way we make food and portion it up. If you have a plate and you think you're making pasta with tomato sauce, yes, you have one veg in there, right? You're having a lot of carbohydrates, and usually we have lots of carbohydrates and just a little bit of tomato sauce on top. The way you can flip this around, for example, you're still eating a tomato kind of based pasta dish, but think minestrone soup, okay? Lots and lots of vegetables made into a nice soup, and then a tiny handful of small pasta added to it, which then makes the ratio from, say, 80% pasta carbohydrates, 20% veg. You're turning it around, you're flipping it to 80% vegetables and 20% pasta. And really, that's the trick. That's where you need to be thinking, how can I eat more vegetables and reduce the amount of carbohydrates? But also, obviously, you then need to have lots of good fats in there, because if you're not having carbohydrates, then you need to eat the fats, but good fats. Okay, so we're talking here olive oils, extra virgin olive oils, coconut oils, obviously, and then adding in the proteins, and that will keep you full for longer. And with that, you can reduce the amount of carbohydrates that you're eating, for example, breads, which really turn very quickly into sugar. And if we eat much of it, we pile on weight. So that was my idea, what I was going to give you there. I mentioned minestrone soup, but also I wanted to mention something that I have learned in the UK from my mother-in-law, which is a soup, and it is lettuce soup. I have obviously taken her recipe, tried it out a couple of times. I was amazed what you can do with lettuce, because lettuce to me had always meant salads. And sometimes I'm just not fancying salad. I just want something hearty, but I'm looking at my fridge and my lettuce is all going off. So I've got this wonderful recipe, which I actually now call my leftover soup, because from that, I just make it up as I go along, and I just throw in anything green that's left in my fridge and that really needs eating. So I wanted to encourage you, if there's anything that you like that I'm mentioning here where you think I'd really like that recipe, pop it into the comments below and I will make either a video or I'll post the recipe out and I will mention it to you in particular. So please let me know and mention it in the comments below. So the other thing then, if we're going into dinners, that I wanted to mention is think fresh herbs. So if, for example, you are just making your normal way of, say, spaghetti bolognese, think herbs, just buying more fresh herbs. And then obviously in an ideal world in the future, we'd all have a little herb garden outside in our garden, and be able to go and pick fresh herbs for everything all the time, because fresh herbs, think of them as veg, because they're so full of vitamins and minerals. They're just brimming with them. So really, if you don't really have much veg left, or you can't really think of what else to put into it or doesn't suit, then just think fresh herbs. Herbs, fresh. It's amazing. The one tip I can give you here is buy it in a big bunch. Often I go to the Asian supermarkets and they sell, for example, parsley and coriander in these massive bunches. And I don't ever need that much. I put it into a container and I freeze it. And then I can just go and get it when I need it. And it's great for soups. Obviously, it doesn't look nice when you need it absolutely fresh on top of, a salad, because it will look soggy. But if you go and put it into soups, it works wonders. And the freezer is my best friend for those kind of things, for lots of things actually. And I will make a video on that one day about how I use my freezer, because it's just amazing things that I've learned, and I'm sure some of you will benefit from some of those things if you don't already know them. Hi Jen. Oh, Jen would love to see the lettuce soup. Fantastic. So as I said, if there's anything you'd like to see, pop it into the comments. Hi Calbia. We got Karen, Abigail. Wonderful. Nice to have you here. So I've talked about breakfast, if you want to play it back later. I've talked about lunch, and now we're just at dinner. How to cram more veg into your daily meals. Okay, didn't think of freezing herbs or seeing them as a veg. Yeah, Heather, me too. Fantastic. So I guess if you want to see the lettuce soup, if there's a consensus here that we want to see lettuce soup, let me know. Okay, so soups I mentioned for lunch, but obviously that makes a great dinner meal as well, especially if you add protein like beans, chickpeas, or red lentils. Red lentils are fantastic because they just cook really quickly. Whereas the green ones, the dark ones, you'd want to soak them overnight. You need a bit more prep and thinking ahead to have the real health benefits get from them. We have Romy joining, Angie, Anne, wonderful. Calbia, what is that one? Which one are you requesting? I can't quite make that out, what that message is saying. If you could retype it, please, that'd be great. Thank you. Okay, so I think for dinner, the number one tip is chop it fine. Okay, so chop things finely, especially with kids, so that it's easily kind of taken in. So here's 2 tips for you guys tonight. I chop loads and loads of veg, for example, kale, leeks, even lettuce you could use, peppers, anything really, really fine. It's a little bit like I mentioned earlier with the omelette. Shred that really fine and then make potato mash. And at the end, before you strain, before the potatoes are properly cooked, just the last 5 minutes, add all your other veg into it that you've got, all these colourful things, the colours of the rainbow, and then just give it like 3, 4, 5 minutes until everything is steamed nicely and cooked. Then strain that and mash it up. And we call that in our house fairy mash, and the kids absolutely love it. They don't even know what's in it. They eat all the vegetables that they sometimes would not touch if I put them out as they were. So lots of cabbage, I hide lots of cabbage in the fairy mash. Yeah, that is the fairy mash idea, where you can add lots more veg. And the other idea I wanted to share with you is cauliflower rice. Maybe some of you, maybe many of you have already heard of that, but it's a great way to replace rice and just simple carbohydrates if you eat usually white rice. For the more complex carbohydrate rice, you would preferably eat brown rice and soak it overnight. But here I'm just talking about turning that on its head and using cauliflower, and you just chop it fine. You either could steam it very briefly on your stove in a little bit of water, or you go and kind of toast it in the oven. It does not take long. And then you've got your base for your rice dish, and you could maybe make a stir fry or whatever else you like eating with rice. But that could be the base. You could put that back in a pan and toast it with and stir fry it through with lots and lots of vegetables and your favorite kind of Asian dressing on top. And that would be a really nice way of just replacing the carbohydrates for veg, really. But then, as I said before, if you are dropping your carbohydrates, think proteins. If you haven't listened to my live last week where I gave you lots and lots of alternatives to meat proteins, then please do and watch the replay from last Monday. You can also find it on my YouTube channel, which is Christine Richardson Natural Healing. So you can watch it there as well. So those were really tonight's tips, and I just wanted to encourage you to experiment, because that's how I cook. I love a good recipe, but really 95% of the time I just make it up and I experiment, and I want you to go and experiment, have fun with food and find your own family favorites. So I can see from everyone who's watching at the moment that I think the lettuce soup is the number one request for tonight. So let's see if there is, if that's the consensus from everyone who might be watching the replay tonight as well. And then I will look forward to making you a video, a recipe video, maybe with my kids, because obviously it could be part of homeschooling, because that's why I'm not getting much done at the moment, because the day is filled with taking care of the little ones, and then obviously making some nice nutritious meals and some nice snacks and cakes, healthy cakes. So yeah, if there's any questions, then please type them in the comments, and I am very happy to stay on and answer them. Otherwise, if you need to head off, or you want to head off and enjoy your evening, then thank you so much for joining me tonight. And if you would like to stay in touch and not miss a single one of my health tips, then please visit my website at www.christinerichardson.co.uk and register there, and you will be sent a free recipe booklet straight away to your inbox, and then you'll hear from me whenever I have got some updates with health tips or recipes or news to share that I think are useful to you. You're very welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. I'll let you all go, and I will see you next week. Lots of love. Bye-bye.